Hey everyone, it's Delaney, Senior Inbound Marketing Specialist at Hivehouse Digital. Today, I'm going to show you how to create custom properties and how to use them in your HubSpot account. Here's how to do it. First, click on the gear icon in the top menu. Then on the left sidebar, scroll down until you find Properties. Then you can click on the orange Create Property button. So on this first page, you have the object type, which by default is contact, but you could always switch it to company, deal, feedback submission, invoice, marketing event, product, and ticket. For this example, we're just going to stick with contact, but you can choose whatever object type you want. If you have multiple business units in your HubSpot account, you can choose that here. We're just in our test portal, so it's just that one option. Then we have group, and this is a way that you can group different properties together on the contact record. So this is really helpful for organizing similar properties together. So you can have custom groups, you can have the default groups, contact information, conversion information, email, Salesforce, social media, web analytics. Those are just some of the options. I'm going to stick with contact information. Then you have your label, and that is how the property is going to show up in your HubSpot account, what it will actually say in the back end. And so for this one, we are going to say, you work with an existing agency. And then the description is just a way to describe what the property is. You may or may not need this, but it's always good to have a description if you can add one. So find out if they work with an agency already. Then click on next. And then this is where you choose what type of property it will be and how that information can be collected. So if you select field type, you see the different options you can pick from. So you've got single line text and multi-line text, which are great for getting form responses. However, it can make reporting a little bit difficult. For example, one person might say just internet, while the other person will say Google or Yahoo or Bing. So it can make reporting a little bit difficult. So use those if it's something that you might not always use in your reporting, and it's more to get feedback or different information that doesn't have one set answer. But if you want people to choose from different options, you're going to use the choosing options property. So you could do a single checkbox, multiple checkboxes, drop-down select, radio select, and date picker. You also have some value property, so number, calculation, and score. And then you have your other, which is a file, a HubSpot user, or rich text. For this, I'm going to choose a drop-down select. And for this, I will say yes, no, and let's say previously. Let's make that capitalized. But then at the top, you have your sort. So if it's set on custom, it will just show the different labels in the order you entered them in HubSpot, but you can click on it and choose alphabetical if you want this to be alphabetized. If you have a lot of different options, you can also use the search bar to search for your different property labels to make sure that you have what you need. Then you have your different labels, you have your internal value. So maybe you, for some reason, need to label the internal value something different when you're syncing with, say, Salesforce. If you change the label, it won't change the internal value. And then you can't edit it after the fact. And then over here, you can choose if you want to use that specific label in a form. Then when you scroll down, you can see the preview, so how it will look for the user experience. So it'll say, do you work with an existing agency? And then you can choose the drop-down select and see what options there are. Then you can go ahead and click next. And to finalize it, you have your property rules. So do you want this whole property to show up in forms, pop-up forms, and bots? You can undo the check mark if you don't want it to be. If you just want it to be an internal property, you can do that. Otherwise, you can just have it show up in different areas of HubSpot. And then once you do that, you can go ahead and click create. Once you have this property created and maybe you want to go back to it, maybe you need to edit it, you can go ahead and use this search bar to find it. So do you work with an existing agency is right there. You can go ahead and click on it and it will bring it up. If you go to basic info, it'll tell you how many people have that value. And then again, the group and description if you need to edit that. Field type is where you would add more labels. Rules is where you would change the property rules. And then you have this new tab, it's called Used In, and it will also show you how many contacts have a value for this property. But when you actually have it in different assets, it will show them here. For example, for this first name property that we have in our test portal, you can see it's used in 36 different assets. And then if you scroll down, you can see the different templates, emails, forms, and workflows that the first name property is used in. And you can also see that 137 contacts have this property. So now that we've gone over how to create a custom property in HubSpot, let's show you a few different ways that you can use this property in HubSpot so you can start gaining contacts with this property information. The first one I'm going to show you is adding it to the contact create form. So you can go ahead and under data management, click on objects and then contacts, since we created a contact property. And then you have this customize the create contact form. And so if you want to add this to the form, you can click on add properties and then search for it. So do you work with an existing agency? Click on the check mark and then it will populate at the bottom. You can go ahead and drag it where you need it to go. And then you can go ahead and click save. And now when we go to the create contact form, you can see that this question has populated on the form. Now I'm going to show you how you can add this to your existing forms to collect this contact information when contacts are filling out a form on your website. So for this example, I'm going to open this existing tech tip example form. We're going to click on edit, then search for the property, and then drag it over to where I want it to go. And you can see that it was added to the form, of course. If you click on the pencil mark, you can make the field required, you can make it hidden, you can change the label on how it looks on the form, you can add placeholder text, and then there's different options you can do for the different forms. You would then click update and publish. Now when we're viewing the form, we can see that do you work with an existing agency is included on form. And if you have this on your website, then this property should be updated when it is embedded on your website as well. All right, that is all we have for you today. I hope you enjoyed and learned something new. As always, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out for our next tech tip.